Before the video starts, there's a small disclaimer. I am not trained in Japanese swordsmanship, I'm just a hobby collector. I paid for this sword with my own money, and no one asked me to do this review. This review is just for fun. I'm also going to use a lot of Japanese names in this review, and I will probably butcher every single one, so I'm sorry about that one. The Kouga is a hanwei made ninjato, paying homage to the Kouga Ninja clan. I ordered mine from the night shop, and it cost me £379. The sword is made of 1566 high carbon steel, which is a steel hanwei uses a lot. They seem to be proficient at working with it. It has black fittings and a large square tsuba or guard. I'll talk about the sword itself soon, but wanted to talk about the theme for the sword first. Hanwei have made 3 ninja swords, the Practical Ninjato, the Iga Ninjato, and the Kouga Ninjato. The Iga and Kouga are made as a homage to the 2 biggest ninja clans in the Sengoku period, which was the golden age of ninjas. At the time, ninja was called Shinobu no Mono, or Suppa. They would also be named after the area they originated from, for example, Kouga no Mono, if they were from Kouga. Kouga no Mono meaning people from Kouga. The Kouga clan was the second largest ninja clan, but there are not a lot of info about them anymore. The most prominent surviving texts from this time, the Banzen Shukai and Shoninki and Nimpiden, give us an insight into these people and the ninja in general. There were supposedly 53 Kouga families in the 1500s operating as shinobi. There have been several claims of heritage in the modern era, the most famous being Fujita Seko, being described as the last soke of Kouga Ryu. Soke meaning leader. However, as far as I know, there are not any substantial evidence to back this up. He wrote a text called The Secrets of Kouga Ryu Ninjutsu, which I have read, but it seemed mostly to be a retelling of the most famous text, the Banzen Shukai, mixed with fairy tales and myths. I would love to go more into this, but this is a sword review after all, so I will focus on that shortly. Since Japan uses kanji instead of the alphabet, translating words can be a bit tricky. Kouga is therefore written in different ways around. The most common is Kouga with a G or Koka, but there is also Kouga, as hanwei uses in the sword name. I have always used Kouga with a G, so I'm going to write this at that. I have a large interest in historical ninjutsu, which is probably pretty obvious. I know that the Ninjato or ninja sword is not historically accurate, but I still think they're really cool. I guess they remind me of my younger days. I've known about the hanwei ninja swords since I was in my early teens, but not until recently have been in position to acquire them. Knowing about something so long and then finally getting it could possibly make me biased, but I'll try to be as objective as possible. The sword arrived well packaged in 2 cardboard boxes and a lot of foam. There was a standard black sword bag with the sword, and that was it. There was no issues on arrival. It became clear pretty fast that this was a well-made sword. Everything was tight and the sword had really good feel in the hand. I purchased the hanwei Practical Ninjato before, and that suddenly felt really clunky in comparison. I have a review on my channel for that as well, for those interested. The sword specs should be on screen now. So, I'll start with the fittings. They're all black and seem to be an exclusive cast for this model. All the fittings are nice and crisp, they do not move at all. One of the highlights are the iron tsuba or guard. They could have done a simple cutout, but it has raised edges and the Rukaku clan crest raised slightly. The Rukaku clan was the clan that Kouga was under the jurisdiction of. The crest can also be found as a menuki and on the scabbard. The kashira or pommel is somewhat similar to a tachi kashira. It sits firmly down on the sword and probably won't come off anytime soon. It's a great cast. The tsuka, or handle, is subtly wasted and has a katata maki wrap, meaning the middle of the handle does not have the diamond-shaped wrap. It is usually called battle wrap in English. The wrap is really tight and it has blackened real Samagawa ray skin under. The Samagawa is okay enough quality, but that doesn't really matter when you can barely see it. A concern I had with this sword was about the handle. Hanwei usually makes really thick handles, which I don't like. It can be hard to see on pictures, so I wasn't too optimistic. Luckily, this one does not have that at all. This is one of the most comfortable handles I have the pleasure of handling. It feels really great in the hand. The saya, or scabbard, is really unique on this sword. It's more or less a weapon of itself. It has iron pieces on top and bottom of the scabbard. There's also a ring lower down to complete the backstrap saigo, instead of the normal presentation wrap. The backstrap is there to appeal to the image of ninjas having the sword on the back, but it's somewhat awkward to use. Just as the practical Ninjato, the rings are too close. This might just be bad fit because of my overweight body, so yeah. The bottom of the scabbard has an iron spike. A fairly known ninja technique is to use a sword to climb up walls by placing it and stepping on it, while having the saigo in their mouths to drag the sword up after them. The spike is there to help the sword standing firm in the ground. The technique is historical, however the spike is probably not. It is, however, a really cool detail on this sword, and I'm fairly certain the sword is not supposed to be historically accurate either. The scabbard seems really robust overall. It was tempting to show the climbing technique, but I'm not too sure it will handle my weight. I'm probably at least 3 times more heavy than the average ninja wear. There is a negative, however, with the scabbard, and that is the iron piece on top of the scabbard going around the opening as well. This makes drawing the blade sketchy, as metal on metal could damage the polish, or in the worst case, the edge of the blade. This means you have to be careful when drawing. It also ruins the stealthy theme a bit the sword is going for, since it's really easy to make a sound while drawing. A small but dumb flaw on an otherwise great scabbard. The blade is a short, straight 1566 high carbon steel blade with a real hamon. Hanwei uses the same blade making technique on the Practical Plus swords and others as well. It's a surprisingly robust blade that holds the edge really well. Mine arrived really sharp and are a joy to cut with. Sometimes it would almost feel like cheating compared to other blades, since it would part things too easily, even with my horrible technique. The hamon is a wavy line, nothing groundbreaking but appealing. I can't really do anything other than praise the blade. So overall, is this something that I would recommend? I don't think it will come as a surprise that the answer is yes. The only flaw here is the opening of the scabbard, but it's not a deal breaker. The fittings and overall look of the sword is really great. The look can be a bit edgy for some, and it's far from historical, but it's obviously not the point here. It's a joy to use, well balanced and a great cutter, not too costly either. If you are after a functional and well-made Ninjato, then you can't really go wrong here. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching.